Hey guys, I have something a little bit different for you today. Never hurts to try different things. But we are going to work a flow that is very restorative inspired. I would never claim that this practice that we're about to do is a true restorative practice. If we were doing a true restorative practice, we would maybe do 3 postures in our time together, and we would use much more props. So this is not a full restorative practice, but definitely restorative inspired. In that, I want you to use some props today, and we're going to use as little muscle engagement as possible. We're going to try to relax through things, and we're going to spend some time trying to stretch out our low back today. So if you have blocks, you're fancy, grab 2 of them. You'll need your strap. And you might want your bolster. Okay. Now, if you don't have any of that, that is totally fine. You don't need any of that because we are going to create those same things with stuff that's around your house. So, for a strap, you can use a belt, any old belt, or a necktie, or the sash from your robe. That would work. For the bolster, you can use your couch pillows or bed pillows, different sizes. And you can also grab a blanket, like a little throw blanket. That would be super helpful. Another thing you can grab is a stack of books to use instead of blocks. So grab your props, hit pause, grab all the things you'll need. I am going to use my props for the sake of space, but I will talk you through using the household props as we go. So with that, we are going to start in a reclined Baddha Konasana. So you are going to need your 2 blocks or 2 of your pillows. Put all of our props away. Okay, so starting in reclined Baddha Konasana, come to lie down, and you're going to take either your pillows or your blocks and put them underneath your thighs. And even if you don't need them, this is where it's restorative inspired. Even if you don't need them, we still want to use them because we want to let our body feel supported and not have to do the work. So we're trying to let go of as much muscle engagement as possible. So instead of using active feet, soften your feet. And let your knees be soft. Maybe you want to bring one hand to your belly. Maybe one hand to cover your heart. Maybe both hands to the belly. Maybe your arms by your side, wherever your arms naturally seem to fall. And then start to take deeper breaths. Letting your inhales fill up through your rib cage. With each exhale, soften and relax. We're going to slowly transition from here. Reach down with your hands. Help your knees come back together. We're going to come into reclined child's pose, or knees to chest, knees wide. So pick up your feet. Bring your knees in towards your armpits. Maybe hold on underneath your thighs. That way your shoulders aren't coming up. They're not having to work so hard, and head lifted. I want your shoulders and head to stay soft on the floor. So whether that's holding your shins or the backs of your thighs, and I want you to feel your sacrum, right? So right up here, the flat part above your butt crack. And I want you to think about letting that be very heavy on the floor. And so taking away all muscle engagement. Just letting your back be heavy, your spine. Let your shoulders soften. And we'll take a few breaths here. And start to bring your knees together. Bring your feet down to the floor. Reach either arm overhead, and then roll onto your side and come all the way over and make your way towards tabletop. You won't need any props for these next few postures, so you can move those to the side. And then come into your tabletop with your fingers spread, your wrists underneath your shoulder, your knees underneath your hips, and where to feel if it's, you want to feel if it's way too far back, if you're kind of leaning forward, or if your knees are too far forward, you're going to feel very scrunched up. So getting the knees under the hips. We're going to work with cat-cow. So with an inhale, drop your belly. Lift up through your collarbones, and then think about your low back, and I want you to think about widening through your hips. Then with an exhale, press your hands into the floor, tuck the chin to the chest, round into cat. Good, now feel your low back, right? Feel it lengthening. And with an inhale, move through cow, drop the belly, lift and spread through the hips. Exhale through cow, round the spine, lengthen through your low back. Inhale through cow. Exhale through cat. Inhale through cow. Exhale through cat. Come back to a neutral spine. We're going to keep doing some cat-cows, but we're going to do a few wrist stretches while we're here. So from here, turn your fingers out to the side. And maybe that didn't work. Maybe you got diagonal, right? Turn your wrists at just as much as you can. And then we're going to take just tinier versions of cat-cow. So bend your elbows a bit and inhale, lift your hips. Exhale, round into cat. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale through cat. One more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Good, come back to neutral. If the space is available in your wrist today, see if you can turn your hands so your fingers are pointing back. And again, bend your elbows a little bit. And I want you to just press down through the heels of the hands here and pull your belly up towards your spine. Right, notice if your spine is sagging, right, and your butt is lifting. I want you to pull your belly button up. Feeling a stretch through your forearms. Good, then move your hands back to your fingers pointing forward. We're going to do one more wrist stretch and press our hips back. I want you to flip your palms over so the palms of the hands are facing up. Fingers are pointing back, and then very gently press your hips back towards your heels. Right, so you're not trying to jam the wrists down to the floor. You're letting them ease up off the floor wherever they do. And then soften your shoulders and relax your neck. And then come forward. Carefully lift your hands up. Take your fingers to point forward. We're going to come into a lunge. So from your tabletop, pick up your right knee and then bring that right foot next to your right hand. Here is where you may want some props. I'm going to use my blocks under my hands. This is where you could use your books or even put the pillows underneath your hands. So I want you to tuck your left toes under here, lift your left knee up, wiggle that leg back as far as you can, and then lie the left knee down, untuck your toes. Something else you could do is you could put your blanket underneath your knee and give your knee a little bit of extra padding. And I don't want you to engage here. I want you to let your hips soften towards the floor, right? So it's not trying to hold you up. But I do want you to very strongly pull your belly button towards your spine. Let the front of the left hip feel like it's melting towards the floor. Notice if you're squeezing your butt. See if you can soften through your butt, and then soften the front of your left hip. We're going to come out, tuck your left toes under, lift the knee, and then bring that right foot back. Come back into tabletop, and we'll do the other side. Bring your left foot next to your left thumb. Tuck your right toes under, lift the knee. Wiggle that foot back as far as you can. And then bring the knee down, untuck the toes. Again, remember, you can put a pillow or a blanket underneath your knee. Right, and if you feel all jammed up, like you're trying to touch the floor, grab books, grab pots and pans. Soften through your legs and soften your butt. But each time you exhale, pull your belly up towards your spine. Right? Notice if you're sagging through your low back, I want you to think about pulling your belly up and supporting your low back through here. We're going to carefully come out, tuck your right toes under, lift your knee, and then bring that knee forward a little bit, and then bring the left foot back into tabletop. We're going to come into pigeon from here. So have your blocks, your books, your pillows ready for pigeon. I am going to demo with some of the pillows and books here, just so you can see how you would do this. So for our pigeon series, start in tabletop. Then I want you to bring your right knee behind your right wrist. And then look at your right foot, cross your right foot in front and to the outside of your left knee. So now your foot is on the outside of the knee. And then curl your left toes under, lift your knee up, and then reach your left leg as far back as you can. And then when you get as far back as you can go, bring the knee down, untuck the toes. Now, a couple of things were going to happen here. Some of us, we reach that leg back, and our right thut, what I call the thut where the thigh and the butt meet, will find the floor. Right? Some of us are going to get here, and that hip's going to be still up here. If it is up there, you're going to take your pillow, or your blanket, or even your book, right, and put it underneath your butt. But what you are working towards, the reason you want to prop up underneath there is think about your hips. And for these first two postures, we want your hips pointing straight forward, right? So if you come onto the outside of the hip to come down, now your hips are pointing externally. So we want this internal rotation of the hip. So that's why you want to put something underneath your hip. We're going to take a forward fold here. So walk your fingers out in front of you. With an inhale, I want you to think about pulling your ribs away from your hips, and as you exhale, fold down towards the floor. So you might find your forearms. Maybe your head can come all the way down. Maybe you're going to put your books underneath your forearms. Or you can even put your books under your head. And each time you exhale, I want you to slide your shoulders away from your ears. We're gonna come into pigeon twisting towards the thigh. So lift your chest up. And then walk your hands to the right. So now you're framing your right knee. And then you're gonna start to fold down like you're folding over your thigh. So just bring your props over. And so now you should feel a lot of things happening in this right butt cheek. And I want you to try and soften through your right butt and breathe deeply here, right? Notice if your breath gets really shallow or you start clenching your jaw, right? And if this feels terrible, put another pillow underneath your butt. Bring yourself up a little bit. There's no reason to keep coming further down, right? The further down you come, the harder you're having to work. I'm jealous of people who can stay up here and get the amazing sensation. I have to do a lot of extra work to get the same amount of sensation. So think of this truly as what it is, restorative, right? We're resetting. We're not trying to break new ground. We're just trying to hit reset. Bring your chest up. If you have a prop underneath your right butt, move it to the side. We're gonna come into pigeon sternum to ankle, and I'm gonna turn so you can see me. So same as I was, I just turned this way. So for pigeon sternum to ankle, we're all gonna roll onto the outside of our right hip now and bend your left knee. And then turn your torso towards your right foot. And then frame your foot with your hands, or you can hold your foot or your big toe. And with an inhale, pull your ribs forward. And as you exhale, fold towards your foot. Now, you might use your pillow here. You might use your pillow and your books. Very carefully start to bring yourself up. Move any props that you're using to the side. And then make your way back to tabletop. Whew. Right, notice your right hip now. It should feel very different than your left hip. Let's do the other side. Pigeon on the left. Bring your left knee behind your left wrist. Cross your left foot in front of and to the outside of your right knee. Then curl your right toes under, lift your knee, walk your right foot back, and reach out your right leg as far as you can. Good, then check on your left foot. Maybe it found the floor, maybe you're gonna prop underneath it. And then I want you to inhale, pull your ribs forward like you're stretching through your belly button. Then as you exhale, come into your forward fold. Right, not the forward fold that you have to grind your teeth or clench your shoulders, but the forward fold that you could stay here for a really long time. And I want you to find the forward fold that you're gonna be somewhat disappointed when I tell you to come out of it. Right, and that might mean that there's a bolster, a pillow, a block. This is maybe where you have to work your pigeon. And there's nothing wrong with that. Pigeon twisting towards the thigh. Lift your chest up. Take any props that you're using towards the left knee. Walk your hands towards the left. Then as you inhale, pull your ribs out over towards your left knee and then fold down. Check in with your shoulders and slide your shoulder blades down your back. Bring your hands down to the floor. Lift your chest up. Coming into pigeon, sternum to ankle. Roll onto the outside of your left hip. Bend that right knee. Line the center of your chest up with your right foot. And then with an inhale, pull your ribs forward. Exhale, fold, chest towards the foot. Notice if you're clenching through your hips, right? Soften through your butt here. Bring your hands down to the floor. And make your way back to tabletop. Ooh. So now we're going to come into child's pose. I think child's pose is actually a pretty difficult posture if you have hips that have a tendency to rotate in. That's why we haven't done child's pose until now. So for child's pose, take your knees as wide as they can comfortably go and sit your butt down on your heels, and then start there. And if it's not comfortable to sit your butt down on your heels, grab your pillow or your block and put it underneath your butt so you're connecting to something. You want to have something to press your hips down into. Right, and from there, keep your hips pressing down. Start to walk your chest forward, and then bring your forehead down towards the floor. So now a couple of things to feel for here. Some of our upper backs are not gonna like that sensation of bringing our forehead to the floor. So with our butt still pressing down towards our heels, notice if to bring your head down, your butt came way up, right? Keep your butt pressing down. And as you start to soften your head towards the floor, right? And if that is very, very uncomfortable, you're going to grab your block. And you're going to put your forehead on your block. Or maybe 2 blocks. And so in your child's pose, let your shoulders be very soft. Slide them away from your ears. Let there be a bend in your elbows. And let your head be heavy. When you inhale, I want you to think about puffing up through your low back. When you exhale, pull your belly up, reach your hips back and down. Start to bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up, bring your knees together, and swing your legs out in front of you. Okay. You might want to have one of your pillows and your strap ready. You could also have a block ready. So we're going to start with a twist. Extend your left leg out, straight out, bend your right knee, hug it in towards your body. Press down through the right foot. Now we're not activating, but I want you to press down through the foot. And then either hold on to your right knee with your left hand or hug the knee with the crook of the elbow. And then bring the right hand behind the right hip. Maybe that doesn't feel good. Maybe you want to take your right hand onto a block or a pillow or your books. So hug the knee in, keep your neck soft. When you exhale, hug your knee a little closer to your body. Soften through your shoulders. So we're going to come into what I know as Stargazer. I think it's just a fun pose, and I don't have very many opportunities to do it. So your right hand down is down on the floor now behind your hip. It could still be on the prop if that's where it was. Release your right knee, let your right knee fall open. We're going to come to stand on this right knee. So pull your belly towards your spine, lift your hips up, bring your right hand or left hand to your left hip. Good. Now, press down through that left leg, reach long through your left leg, pull your belly button back towards your spine. And just squeeze your butt cheeks. Good. Think about stretching through the front of that right thigh. One more breath. And we're going to bring our hips back down to the floor. Come all the way down. Keep that right knee down. We're going to turn towards our left thigh now. We're going to fold. So a couple things here. You might want to put a block or a pillow underneath your left knee. And this is where you want to maybe grab your strap. Actually, I want you to grab your strap. Don't try and find the foot. And then hook onto the ball of your left foot. And I want you to sit up tall. And I want you to think about your low back here, and I want you to think about keeping this straight. We're going to hinge, not round. So with an inhale, pull your ribs forward. Exhale, pull your belly up, soften your shoulders. So think about as you inhale, you're pulling your ribs towards your foot. Exhale, pull your belly up. Release your strap. Bring yourself up. Let's switch sides. Move your props out of the way. Extend your right leg out. Bend your left knee in. Either hold on to the knee or use the crook of your elbow. Left hand behind the left hip. Okay, we're coming into Stargazer. So we're going to release our right arm. Left hand plants to the floor. Let the left knee fall open. Lift your butt up. And think about reaching through that right leg. Pull your belly back. Squeeze your butt. One more big breath here. And bring your butt back down. Then turn towards your right thigh and we'll fold here. Grab your strap and any prop that you want to put underneath your right knee. Hook onto the ball of the foot. With as little engagement of your shoulders as possible. Inhale, pull your belly button forward. Exhale, pull your belly up. Hinge down. Carefully bring yourself back up. Take your strap to the side. We are going to come into waterfall. It's a version of shoulder stand that I think is more accessible to everybody, and I think it's actually more productive for most of our bodies. So come to lie down. Have your knees bent. Take your arms by the side. Go ahead and face your palms down. And then 1 foot at a time, pick up your feet, reach your legs straight up towards the ceiling. Now, I don't want you to reach, right? If we were maybe doing a really intense practice, I would be telling you to reach your legs up towards the sky. I want you to soften your legs. Let them be a little heavy. And I want you to let your hips and your low back and your sacrum be heavy towards the floor. Big breaths here. Bend one knee at a time. And bring the feet down to the floor. Reclined hip series. Start with, extend your left leg out. Hug your right knee into your chest. We're going to start with a spinal twist here. Take your right arm down by your side, palm facing up or down, right? I don't want a whole lot going on in this right shoulder. Then with an exhale, cross your knee over towards the left. I want you to keep your neck neutral so you're not overworking your neck. And then let your right shoulder be soft on the floor. Maybe you can feel or direct your breath all through the space of your hips and your sacrum and your low back, right? See if you can inhale and puff that space up. And as you exhale, soften. And carefully come back through center, bend your left knee. Back release, cross your right ankle over your left thigh, bring the legs in toward the chest. I want you to interlace your fingers behind your thigh. Don't do the shin today. Right, I want your shoulders to stay soft. And let your feet be soft. Right, and this works for some of us. It doesn't work for some of us. An option might be finding your strap, putting your strap behind your thigh. So you don't have to overuse your shoulders. Another option would be arms by the side, palms facing up. You might even keep that left foot on the floor. Whatever feels really good. That's how you're going to make that decision. Whatever feels really good. If you're holding on to your left thigh, release your interlaced fingers. Bring the left foot down to the floor. Half happy baby. Hold on behind your right thigh. And then guide that right knee towards your right armpit. And then stack the ankle over the knee. Right? So maybe you stay holding on to the thigh. Maybe you reach up, hold on to the foot. Start to bring the right knee back in. Hug it into the chest one more time. Bring the foot to the floor. Let's do the other side. Extend your right leg down the mat. Hug your left knee into your chest. Hi, Loki. This practice is totally up your alley. Let's take our twist. Let your left arm come by your side, palm facing up. With an exhale, cross your knee over towards the right. Next time you exhale, I want you to soften your shoulders and your face. And the next time you exhale, maybe soften through your low back and your hips. Maybe soften through your legs and your feet. Bring the knee back to center. Bend the right knee for back release pose. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you bring the legs in. Maybe you hold on to the back of your right thigh. Whatever feels most comfortable. Not where you feel the deepest stretch. Where you feel most blissful. Like you could stay here for 15 minutes. You're holding on to the back of your thigh. Release the fingers, bring the legs down. Half happy baby, keep your right knee bent. Think about guiding your left knee towards your left armpit and then stack the ankle over the knee. Maybe you hold on behind the thigh, maybe the foot. Bring the left knee back in toward the chest. And then bring the foot down to the floor. You are going to come into your Shavasana from here. So maybe you want to do Shavasana with your knees bent. Maybe with your knees bent, feet wider, the knees coming towards one another. You don't have to make the knees press, just they can fall towards one another. Or maybe you want to extend your legs out. Or maybe you want to use any of your props and put them under your head. Start to make yourself very, very, very comfortable. And then lie here for as long as you want. Working in a restorative way isn't necessarily easier. I think I'm actually more challenged to practice in a restorative way more than the active way. So don't discount these more restorative practices. It's my honor to lead you through your practices. The light in me sees, hears, and deeply feels the light within each of you. Namaste.